Alibaba is China's largest e-commerce platform. In its latest earnings report, Alibaba disclosed having 636 million annual active consumers on its China retail marketplaces. As a point of reference, that's almost double the entire population of the United States. But despite its enormous Chinese following, Alibaba is still not a well-known brand to many Americans.
There isn't a lot of reason for Alibaba to go after the American consumer because their market in China is just so much bigger and it's still growing. When you think about how big the middle class is and how fast it's growing, there's 300 million people in the middle class that Alibaba can target. That's more of a market than they would have here in the US.
Alibaba first threw its hat into the US market in 2014 when it IPO'd at the New York Stock Exchange. At the time, it was the largest US-listed initial public offering ever, raising $25 billion. The IPO made Alibaba founder and chairman Jack Ma the richest man in China. Shortly after its IPO, Alibaba tried to dip its toe into America's consumer market through an e-commerce website called 11Main. The website was shut down just a year after it launched.
Alibaba's 11Main shut down after only 1 year simply because it wasn't working. They were coming into a mature market where Amazon and eBay have dominated for years, and they couldn't gain any traction with American consumers.
Alibaba now says that its strategy has never been to compete with the likes of Amazon and eBay, and the focus has always been on the American business, not the American consumer.
As far as Alibaba is concerned, what we're doing here in the United States is to help American farmers and small business to sell back into China, to export to China. And so, for example, we're helping Ocean Spray cranberries and Washington State apples, all those guys that are producing fruits and farming products, selling into China on our Alibaba platform. That's a business for us that we see there's a lot of potential, and we continue to execute that strategy here in the United States.
Back in 2017, Jack Ma articulated this strategy to then President-elect Trump.
Jack Ma's been talking for some time about trying to help American small businesses sell their goods on the Alibaba platform, and they discussed that today, and here's how the President-elect and Jack Ma described the meeting.
We had a great meeting. It's jobs. You just saw what happened with Fiat, where they're going to build a massive plant in the United States, in Michigan. And we're very happy. And Jack and I are going to do some great things. Small business, right?
We'll focus on small business.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
A few years ago, Jack Ma, Alibaba's founder, stood up beside President Trump and said that he was going to bring 1 million jobs in the US, but I think that this number was widely misunderstood. Alibaba was never going to hire 1 million people in the US. These were indirect jobs. Alibaba says that it wants to facilitate American businesses selling their products to the Chinese markets, to Chinese consumers. And these jobs were going to be indirect. These companies, because they were growing in China, would be hiring more, but they were always through American businesses.
But trade tensions between the US and China caused Ma to back out of the promise. In September of 2018, Ma told Chinese news site Xinhua, quote, "The promise was made on the premise of a friendly US-China partnership and rational trade relations. That premise no longer exists today, so our promise cannot be fulfilled," end quote. The comment came just a few days after Ma announced that he would be stepping down from his role as chairman of Alibaba. He did add, however, that Alibaba would, quote, "not stop working hard to contribute to the healthy development of China-US trade," end quote. So far, Alibaba has worked with a number of leading US brands to help them get a foothold in the Chinese market. Starbucks has a Reserve Roastery store in Shanghai that offers customers augmented reality experiences powered by Alibaba's Taobao app technology. Other American brands like Guess, Nike, and Urban Outfitters use Alibaba's Tmall marketplace to sell their merchandise directly to Chinese consumers. Smaller businesses like Emily's Chocolates and Nuts in Seattle and handbag company Weldon in Connecticut have also signed on to use Alibaba's selling platforms. But Alibaba has some tensions with the US government. It came under fire for having counterfeit goods on its consumer-to-consumer site Taobao. The site was listed on the US government's list of global marketplaces known for counterfeit and pirated goods 2 years in a row. For someone living in the US, it may be hard to grasp just how influential Alibaba is in China. Alibaba's reach today expands far beyond e-commerce. The tech giant's realm now covers cloud computing, digital media and entertainment, and even logistics services. Alibaba is also part owner of financial services company Ant Financial.
Alibaba is interested in the U.S. consumer, but it's far more interested in American businesses. American businesses want to tap this humongous market over in China, a middle class of 300 million people. So Alibaba is trying to facilitate American businesses actually going into China, trying to sell their products to the Chinese consumer, which is a very exciting proposition and very valuable, lucrative proposition for U.S. businesses.
But that doesn't mean that Alibaba will not try again.
Alibaba expanding into the U.S. is a pretty long-term priority for the company. I think in terms of their retail operations, their much bigger priority is expanding into Southeast Asia. They expanded in part through an acquisition of a company called Lazada, and I think they're trying to build out that presence more across India, Thailand, Indonesia, the Philippines. That's priority number one. I think expanding into Western Europe and the U.S. is a 5 to 10 year put.